All right, so finances, right? Last week I did a video about preparing for, getting laid off in, as an artist in the entertainment industry. And I talk a little bit about, having your emergency fund, a little bit of the finance type of things. But finance is one of those topics that is sort of like taboo, right? People, you don't see them openly talking about it. Um, how to manage it, how to deal with certain situations, how to take control of it. And so I was freelancing for my first 5 years. I was a freelancer back in Puerto Rico, and I want to share with you in this episode sort of like some of the things that I do. And the things that I've learned in the past couple of years, because before I had no idea, I had no relationship, or rather a bad relationship with money. I was living paycheck to paycheck, and of course, I wasn't earning as much, right? But even though um, even though it took me a while, for the past couple of years, I've learned quite a lot, and I got certified as a financial coach last year. And one of the things that I learned during that process was that money problems is 80% behavior, 20% math. So what that means is that if we can change the way we think about money, how do we use it, um, whatever relationship you have with it, you're more than halfway towards your goals financially, right? And so it's sort of like when they say about the gym, 80% is the diet, 20% is actually going to the gym and getting workout. So it's very similar. And also what that means is that it doesn't matter how much you earn, if you don't have the right behavior, you're always going to be um, broke, or not poor but broke, right? And so I want to share some couple facts here with you very quickly here. This is from Career Builder from 2017. Around 60% of Americans will struggle to pay a $1,000 emergency, which is pretty sad because things happen all the time, and so we need to be able to handle those things. 78% of people live paycheck to paycheck in the United States, and 7 out of 10 couples do not budget consistently. Um, and so those are some other things that we're going to talk about. So we're going to start with tip number one, and is knowing exactly where your money is going. Now, if you can ask anybody, oh, how much you pay for rent, your car, all those usual big things they usually for in the most cases that people know, right? But what do I mean by knowing exactly where your money is going? And you have to sit down and really write down every single thing that you use money for. And whether that means going into your credit card statement or your debit card statement, if you pay with cash, write it down. But that means that we're gonna, you can use a Google Sheet as well. But you have to keep track of every single thing. Your rent or your mortgage, your groceries, eating out, the tips that you give when you eat out, your cell phone, utilities, any type of subscription, um, your tithing if you tithe, that shirt you bought on Target when you went to buy groceries, that extra piece of meat that you bought at Costco when you went for, I don't know, for eggs or something, right? The candy that you bought at the gas station when you went to fill the gas. Every single thing, every single cent needs to be put down. And you have to add it all up and compare it to how much you're bringing as an income, and then do the math to see how you're doing. But this will give you an example of, or give you an idea of where your money is going, but also all the things that maybe you're not even aware of that you're spending money on. And this exercise will really shed some light on that, because and I cannot stress this enough. When I started thinking about it this way, it really changed my perspective. We and I mean we as artists, and I mean everybody, but we trade time to create money, right? So we go to a job, whether it's full time, you go to 9 to 5, or you spend some hours doing a freelance job. We spend time to create money, But time is really our most valuable asset, right? We cannot get that back. We cannot create it. We cannot go back. And so if we're spending our most precious asset, which is time, to create money, we better know how we're using that money, right? And so I don't want this. Also, I don't want this episode to feel like, oh, it's really all about money, type thing. But really, money affects almost every aspect of our lives, And when I think about me trading my time, which is my most valuable asset with money, I better be sure to know what I'm doing with it as best as possible, of course, right? And so that would be my tip number one. Number two is make a budget, right? So once you add everything up, you know how much your income is, you know how much you're spending. You create a budget. Now, budget um, is pretty much a tool that you're gonna use to tell where your money is going, right? And I like to do a zero sum budget, which means that if I earn, for example, $5,000 a month. Now, if you're a freelancer, you might have a fluctuate amount, so just use the average. But if you're a full timer, you sort of know exactly how much you're getting in, unless you do like extra jobs on the side. But with the budget, you're telling those $5,000 exactly where it's going. 1,500 goes to rent, 500 goes for the car. Whatever the case may be. But you have to allocate every single cent to something in the budget. Now, those items in the budget could be different from everybody. Of course, we all need some sort of rent, or most people, some sort of rent or place to live, transportation, food, gasoline, clothing, that sort of thing. But other than that, it's going to be a little bit different, but you got to figure that out, with whatever your lifestyle is, right? And you can do this as a Google Sheets. There's some free apps available to you, but you have to make it in writing and visually see it, so that way you can do it every single month. And I would do this at the beginning of the month with my wife, or I will set it up, and then we sort of share an app. But we used to do it. I used to have like a old Google Sheets, and that I would write everything down. And every time I get money, I'll put in the accounts that I had, just whatever everything was gonna be taken care. So, but by creating a budget every month, you will literally it will take you more than halfway to your goal, because you're already having a plan, and you're already setting up every single cent that you have in for a purpose, which is a very critical thing, to have control of that money. Now, if you make extra money that month, then I will use it for whatever financial goals you have, whether it is to be debt free, or saving for a car, or saving for a trip, whatever the case may be, right? Investing, etc. Now, tip number three, this is for my spenders. Now, if you have a problem spending, so you like to buy a lot of things on impulse, or you just like to buy things, and let's say you are in your journey to be debt free, and you want to control that a little bit. One of the tips that I like doing is, I don't personally, I'm more of a saver than a spender, but even though I'm like that, every time I buy something, one of the things that I sort of trick myself to think about it a little bit more is, I'll take the price of what I might. Let's say I want to buy just some $200 in shoes, or a $5,000 computer, or something like that. I think about that amount, and then I think to myself, I do the math of how many hours I have to pay, or have to work, in order to buy that with my current hourly rate, right? And a lot of the times, just thinking about that, it doesn't make it worth it. Like, oh man, I gotta work, a whole day just to buy this one thing. Like, I don't want to spend it on that, or have to work a whole week or a whole month or something like that, right? So that's just a little trick, that if it's something that is not fully necessary, you might you might talk yourself out of it a little bit using that strategy. So that's tip number two. Number four is have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months in expenses. Now, I already talked about this on the previous video, but and this is a hard one, because if you're struggling with money, let's say you're living paycheck to paycheck, or you're in negative every single month, to take extra money out for this, like, it's hard, and I get it, because I went through this, but this is part of the process, right? I went through a series of steps in order to get there, and it's a very simple steps that you can also do. But I cannot tell you how much peace of mind I have now because I have an emergency fund that I know that if I get into a car accident or I lose my job or my wife loses her job, or we have some sort of emergency that we never thought we could have, like a medical or something, like I know that that's not gonna disrupt my monthly budget, and I have that money allocated, separate just for those specific situations. And it may take you 6 months to get that, or it may take you a year, but I think it is a great goal to have, because now you can just sort of leave that on the side. You don't have to worry about it. You have now a better peace of mind, and you can work towards other things without worrying about, oh, what would I do if I get let off of work, or if I have an accident or something like that. So having that emergency fund is crucial. 3 to 6 months, depending on your industry or your current situation in your job, that's gonna vary. But tip number 4 is do not upgrade your lifestyle. Now, this is huge because this one creeps on you every time you get a raise, or you do some sort of extra freelance work on the side, or whatever the case may be, that you get extra money. We always buy, the thing that we wanted, the shoes that we wanted, or I don't know why I keep saying shoes, because I don't buy any shoes, but the vacation that you wanted. And sometimes you do a freelance job where you had to work a couple weekends, a couple of days in a row, you didn't have any day off. You get the payment, you're like, oh man, now I get all this extra money, I'm gonna buy this, or I'm gonna go into this vacation. And it's totally fine with that. Like you can do with your money whatever you want. But if you're a person that is struggling paycheck to paycheck with your current full time, or if you have a lot of debt, or your credit cards are getting maxed out and all that, but you're spending that money into things that are not that, then I think it's just the wrong way to do that. And so if you are able to live off, let's say you earn $30,000 or $50,000 a year, and you're able to live off of that, right? Every time you get a raise, or every time you get an extra job, or anything extra, do not upgrade your lifestyle. Don't get that new car, or don't get that bigger apartment or that bigger house or anything like that. Like, keep living off of that so you can use all that extra money to pay off debt, or to save to pay cash for that new car or something like that, right? And so that's sort of something very similar to what we did, right? At one point we were earning about 50K a couple years ago, and my goal was to just live off of that. And so we got a very small apartment. I think it was about 660 square feet. Me and my wife and 2 dogs, and we had one car, very simple, SUV. We weren't going out to eat a lot. And we just living off of 50K. Very simple life. We were paying everything to live. We were going out maybe once a week, maybe twice. And so it was just a normal life. But every freelance that I did, every raise that I got, every whenever my wife started working, which was an extra income, all that stuff was just extra money that we had. And that's how we were able to set up and pay $130,000 in debt in like 2.5 years. And so once we were out of debt, and once we had our emergency fund, then we bought a house and we upgraded our life a little bit and all that. But it's very important. It's I try to live that rule no matter how much I'm earning. And so we set up a specific amount on where or how much we want to use for just living expenses, and everything else then we can use for anything that we want in terms of like goals and stuff that we want to buy, and things like that. So try not to upgrade your lifestyle, because it could really creep up on you. If something happens, then it's harder to keep that lifestyle, and it could get you into a lot of trouble. Now, the last tip that I want to give you is get out of debt. Right now, some people might disagree, but to us was really crucial. And one of the things that sort of opened my eyes into this was that I took all the payments that I was doing every month debt related. So credit cards, student loans, car. Um, it was mostly that. If you have any personal loans or anything like that, add it all up, right, into your monthly thing. And to us, it was like almost or about $1,000 every month that we were paying on things that were debt related. And so I was like, I mean, if I pay off all this debt in, you know, a year, two, three, whatever the case may be, I'm gonna have that extra $1,000 just free money that I'm just gonna have extra every month, right? And that I can use that for stuff that I want and for things that I like. Now I could have done that before, right? But that would mean getting more into debt, paying more interest on all the debts that I had, and you know that could complicate things if I had an emergency or anything that could happen in the future. And so I didn't want to owe anybody anything, and having that extra money to to build wealth later on, to have that emergency fund, to go to trips without having to rely on credit cards to buy the next car completely cash, all that stuff to me was more important than just having that peace of mind that I just didn't owe anybody anything, and I wasn't paying extra on interest and all that. But how do you get that? How do you pay all that debt? I'll give you guys a fact here. In 2017, the total consumer debt in the United States was 12.73 trillion with a T, $1 trillion. So that is a huge problem here in the United States. From student debt, cars, mortgages, etc. But I think if we tackle all that, we'll be in much better shape to build wealth and financially, be free, and also to give more to whoever needs it, right? But you have to do that. You have to do that with a plan. Now, a couple years ago, like I mentioned, me and my wife, we pay 130K. We wrote this little ebook. It's like an 8-page ebook with our story and the things that we did that you can get for free. And also it will give you a budget tracker. So if you don't know how to start a budget, or if you don't know how to do it, like I set up a very simple Google Sheets document with a little video on how you can add it all up and use it. So if you just want to get started, you can just download that for free and then just start using it and start in your journey. But there's a lot of things that we could talk about, like investments and 401ks and Roth IRAs and all that stuff. But that's something that we can talk in some other videos. But I just want to share with you, this sort of 5 tips that has helped me and still help me to this point to sort of keep myself in track. But I really hope that this helps you guys in any way. And if you have any questions about this, like, feel free to put them in the comment section below and let me know. All right. Well, I hope that helps, and see you guys in the next one.